Yes, I'm here to arrest that person who gave Nancy Pelosi that horrible hairstyle. Oh my goodness. Good morning, everybody. It's early mornings LALATE, and the Halloween tribute continues as Capitol Police comes in to put law and order back in place and maybe lock Nancy and Steve in the same room. Maybe they would actually like that. But it's times like this that you want to have, some law and order, and you want to have some frontline workers compensated. We crush the virus, we crush the things. But as we start the new day, as we hit the bottom of the hour at the 6:30 mark, I'm so excited you join me because we're going to go over your second stimulus check, your second stimulus package, your third stimulus package, your first stimulus package, and that package that arrived on your front doorstep that hopefully has some better hairstyle. Otherwise, I'm taking that hairstylist into custody. Hey, good morning, everybody. I'm here, you're here, and apparently Officer Stimulus is in the place. It's a great morning. It's a great morning. So I'm so excited you join me on a day in which I probably can't see you, but you can't see your stimulus check either. So it's sort of, it's sort of one in the one. I don't see you, sort of like how Nancy Pelosi doesn't see reality. It's a good morning, and I'm so excited you've joined me one day away from Halloween. So wow, we're almost there. It's almost about to be a nightmare, sort of like, looking at Chuck Schumer's idea of Broadway every day. There's going to be so many gobbles and ghouls and, people dressed up as bats, and it'll be like a typical day in Nancy Pelosi's kitchen. But Halloween is one of those great times of the year that we go trick or treat, and ironically, it's sort of like the Senate and the House. It's just a lot of tricks and no treats. But I'm so glad you joined me. Go to the Funded channel and subscribe. Subscribe because we're gonna get through this together. I mean, maybe I'll have a better costume than you, but at the end of the day, nurses and nannies and fire chiefs, we all have the same costumes. Also, like this video. In this, I forgot. On the right is a live chat. Yes. If you're new to Early Mornings LA, this is an instant premiere, which means basically at the end of the video, I'm taking you into custody. But it's a live chat, and it allows you to chat with all your friends. See which of them have mugshots, share mugshots on the right, and, talk about that time that, you don't want to tell them about the, when you use the handcuffs with your ex girlfriend. But it's a good morning, and so we're gonna get through all this stuff and more. So let's get to the breaking news. The breaking news is that Wall Street will start the morning with a lot of uncertainty, and the uncertainty is abound as actually one company yesterday, Amazon, showed that the pandemic has cost them an enormous amount of money for cost testing and tracing, but they got it figured out very quickly. They accounted for several billions of dollars in testing and tracing just in third quarter last year. And ironically, they got it done very smooth and very simply, whereas Congress to this day has not even been able to figure out contact testing and tracing for their second stimulus package. What's also important to understand is that yesterday, a series of airlines, including Delta, announced that they had reached an agreement with their pilots and would not have to do certain employment decisions that they thought they would have to do, which is sort of ironic because those are the people that were trying to jump ahead of you in the stimulus package and get their stimulus relief before you. Remember them back in early August? There's renewed focus on your second stimulus as we sit here today, but there's confusion, and that confusion stems from a series of political races that are just literally too hard to call. It's important to understand your second stimulus has to be passed by act of Senate, and the Senate races all are just going screwy. NPR overnight identified a series of political races in the Senate that are simply too hard to call, and that some of them we may not know about that night. This is what NPR is saying about Alaska, for example. GOP Senator Dan Sullivan is running against an orthopedic surgeon, Al Gross, who's technically independent but will appear on the ballot as a Democrat. Trump won Alaska by 16 points in 2016, and Sullivan should be able to pull out a win, but Gross had a surprisingly strong campaign added by waves of grassroots Democratic fundraising after the death of Justice Ginsburg. There isn't a regular or reliable polling in this race. If you understood what was going on to the last sentence of that statement, then you see what's going on. Alaska can't even poll their races. There's a lot of reports out of Alaska that they don't have any idea what's going on with Trump or Biden. That's just too hard to poll. There's too much terrain. They don't know how many people are going to show up. It's the weather is kicking in. And that we have independents running a lot of these races, so they have no idea what's going to happen in Alaska. Then you have Georgia. You have not one, but two things that are going on in Georgia. You hear me talking about Georgia all the time on this channel. First, you have Republican Senator Dan Perdue, who's running against a Democrat, John Ossoff. Perdue is a Trump loyalist. Republicans are bullish that Perdue can run re-election, but the risk of a January 5th runoff, is real unless a candidate wins at least 50%. A third-party candidate could split the vote three ways. That's the first one. A Georgia special election, GOP Senator Kelly Lonoff is running to serve out the term of former Senator Johnny Anasco, who retired earlier for health reasons. Kelly's a wealthy businessman. If no candidate gets at least 50%, then the two top runoffs will run again. You see the problems that we have across the board. What's important for your stimulus as we start the new day is that Wall Street is really focused on three things: getting you stimulus for what you've endured so far, getting you stimulus going forward, and understanding where these lockdowns are going to kick in. It's important to understand that you need stimulus if you're in a lockdown. And Congress doesn't seem to get that point, but Wall Street is really hitting that point hard. They're saying, no. If you're going to have lockdowns, you're going to have businesses shut down. Businesses are going to unemploy people. You won't be able to get to your place of work. Services will be cut. It'll be expensive to get things. Restaurants will be gone. Supermarkets will have low supplies. Prices at supermarkets will go up. You need stimulus. You need unemployment. You need stimulus checks. You need hazard pay. All these things. And Wall Street's looking to Congress and like, what are you doing? You haven't even written a bill for this. If you don't understand that much of the stimulus relief that Congress has devised or anticipated or programmed in the second stimulus package ends in December. Even under Mark Meadows' theory, the pandemic is not gone by December. Let me explain what's going on. The president is preparing his campaign accordingly in the final hours. He's saying that we have therapeutics and we have vaccines that are coming around the corner. That's true. That absolutely is true. Pfizer has a therapeutic that is a 5-day pill that you pop in your mouth in the comfort of your home, one pill per day for 5 days. It means after the 5th day, you're basically fine. You're not going to die. And after a shortened period after that, you can go back to work. Trump is basically saying, hey, if you get sick, you stay at home, you take a pill, in a few days you're fine, you go back to work. You don't have to go to the hospital. You don't have to take an IV. You don't have to do anything complicated. Then he refers to the vaccine. There's no account that there will be a vaccine before December. There could be a vaccine in the start of next year. The best hope is that a vaccine comes in the later part of December, but only for a finite number of people. It wouldn't be available in gross sums that you could say, hey, we can keep the entire U.S. economy open. But what Trump is betting on is that Americans will vote for him because ultimately they don't want to be put on lockdown. What it actually ties into is fear of lack of stimulus. If you don't understand what I'm referring to, let me explain. When the first pandemic hit, people thought that the American government was going to take care of them. They thought there'd be stimulus checks. We were told, you're going on to lockdown, get ready for some stimulus checks to come. And after 1 month of lockdown, we didn't see the second stimulus check. And after the third month of lockdown, we see the third stimulus check. And ultimately, we wondered, okay, is it coming eventually? It didn't. Then there was unemployment. I was recording by April 28th, which was, about a month and a half into the pandemic. Excuse me, April 25th. And by April 25th, I was preparing viewers to understand how to apply for PUA when it goes live on April 28th. Because viewers needed that money. They were on lockdown. They didn't have their employment. Well, guess what happened on April 28th? There was about, I would say maybe a handful of states that went live with PUA and FPUC. The rest didn't have it. They hadn't even written the programs. They hadn't even programmed their computers to even carry this new program. So millions of my viewers, well, not millions, I didn't have millions of viewers then. I had a couple hundred of my viewers said, hey, we don't even have it live in our state. They don't even know it's going to go live. The bottom line is, as the pandemic hit and roared through late April into May, viewers were not getting unemployment money. They weren't, because the states were closed. They hadn't ramped up their computer systems, or they had computer failures. And so the bottom line is, as we face another wave of a pandemic and new lockdowns, millions of Americans remember how the government did not take care of them with stimulus the first time around. That's not even talking about the second stimulus. They're talking about the first stimulus. They're saying, you didn't really take care of me the first time around. Do I really want to be put through another series of lockdowns and you're not taking care of me? It's ironic, because Trump has really not tiered into or keyed into the real better argument. His argument yesterday was that Joe Biden is the candidate that's going to put you on lockdown. Okay, I got that. But he didn't tee into the bigger argument, which is Joe Biden wants to put you on lockdown, but doesn't want to tell you how much stimulus he's going to give you while you're on the lockdown. All he wants to talk about is how many potholes he's going to fix, how many $7 trillion he wants to use to fix the freeways. Okay, I'm on lockdown. That's not my concern. Where's the money for the millions of Americans? It's sort of what's going on with Nancy Pelosi, where she says, okay, here's your second stimulus package. Let me give you some money. Oh, it's only $1,200 or $500 for a child, or $1,000 for an adult. But let me give some money for the state and county, so that they're totally fine. It's taking care of big government, but not taking care of you. And ultimately, what will viewers think? What will voters understand when they go to the polls and say, wait a second, the one that's wanting me to not do much of anything doesn't want to pay me much of anything. And then the other guy who's in office already doesn't want to put me on lockdown, but he hasn't given me an executive order. He hasn't given me the big generous check that he's promised me for several months. He hasn't given me anything that he's promised over all these weeks or months. And so who do I choose among these two people? It's deeply problematic. And that ultimately, what may happen is that Wall Street may push one of them to realize the situation. Trump uses Wall Street as the indicator for his for his economic policy, and Biden is being put into is trying to be put into the presidency by Wall Street. His biggest donors are Wall Street. He's dwarfing Trump on donations because of Wall Street, and so ultimately, will Wall Street's push to get stimulus push the presidential elected nominee to give you the stimulus? That's the big question we need to know. All right, let me answer some incredible questions from yesterday. Missy Daniel, strength in numbers, and we are Purple Power family, and we will prevail. Amen. Debbie, people are doing Christmas shopping. I would like to have some stimulus money to pay. George Hendrickson, if it's Pelosi, it's probably another attempt to give state and local governments big bucks and zero and zilch to us. De Guzman, others enjoying and getting set for Christmas while some aren't, and some children are eating well while some aren't. Missy Daniel, let's just be clear for the previous video that I'm worried about the American people in Louisiana for the storm damage, and I'm worried about the American people who are homeless from the virus, making it hard for the people to keep their homes. Gaming with Shuli, can you put a mic in Trump's ear so he could hear, so you can tell him two things? We need help. Stimulus, more unemployment money. Please help me. Connie, come on, people. You know you're hurting. Get it done. Laura, praying for those who are hit by Zeta. Bionic Woman, prayers going up for everyone everywhere. Amen. If you have questions or comments to today's video, which I'm sure you do, drop them in the comments below. And also, go to the front of the channel, subscribe. Subscribe because no one's taking better care of you than we are as an incredible family. Subscribe because the best damn community out there. Also, like this video. Coming up next is morning's LALATE at 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. As always, stay informed, stay smiling, and stay about life for more.